Join us for Mother's Day celebration.
Hi, it's Miss Molly. I'm here today to tell you a story about Little Bear and a painting that he did of his mother. Little Bear's a pretty good artist, but he got a little bit of help from his friends, so the picture turned out a little different. So let's get started. Little Bear painted a picture of his mother. He gave her a nice round bear face. He gave her a short little bear neck. He gave her 2 little bear ears and a little bear nose. Something's missing. 2 sweet bear eyes. And what else? Small bear smile. He was like, oh, I'm so proud of this painting. I can't wait to go home and show it to my mom. So off he went, bringing his painting, when he came across Mr. Giraffe. And he said, oh, Mr. Giraffe, look at this wonderful painting that I did of my mother. What do you think? How do you like it? It's like, well, it's okay, but I think she needs a longer neck. Little Bear said, okay. So he took out his paints and he gave her a nice long bear neck. He said, what do you think? How do you like it? And Giraffe said, I like that a lot. That's nice. So Little Bear took his painting, was walking along, and he came across Mr. Rabbit. And he said, hi, Mr. Rabbit, look at my painting of my mom. Isn't she lovely? He said, yeah, that's a pretty nice painting, but I think you need to give her bigger ears. Little Bear said, okay. He took out his paints, his paintbrush, and he gave her some nice, long, big ears. He said, what do you think about that, Mr. Rabbit? Mr. Rabbit said, that's nice. I like that. So he took his painting, kept walking along, and he came across Owl. And he said, Owl, who do you think this is? He's like, well, that must be your mom. But I think you need to give her bigger eyes. Yeah, said Owl. So Bear said, okay, took out his paints and his paintbrush and gave her some big eyes. How's that? And he said, how's that, Owl? And Owl said, that's good. She's got bigger eyes now. That's much better. So he said, okay. He took his painting, he's walking along, and he came across Mr. Lion. Can you roar like a lion? Roar! And he said, Mr. Lion, look at my painting. Isn't it lovely? Mr. Lion said, that's a pretty good painting, but I think that you need to give your mom a mane. A mane? Oh, okay. He took out his paints and his paintbrush, and he gave her a nice, big mane. Some over here, and right up top. How's that, Mr. Lion? Mr. Lion said, that's perfect. He said, okay. So he took his paint, he was walking along, and he came across Mr. Crocodile. Can you show me your crocodiles? Jump, jump, jump. Mr. Crocodile, he said, look at this lovely painting of my mom. What do you think? How do you like it? He's like, that's okay, but I think you need to give her a much bigger smile. Maybe with some more teeth. So Bear said, okay, and he took out his paints, his paintbrush, and he gave her a nice big smile. Look at all those teeth. And he said, Mr. Alligator, what do you think? Mr. Alligator said, that's a good smile. That's really nice. I like that. So, walking along, he's almost home, and who does he come across but Miss Elephant? What are elephants known for? Nice long trunk. So he said, Miss Elephant, look at this beautiful painting I made of my mother. What do you think? She said, oh, that's nice, but her nose is much too small. You should give her a bigger nose. So Little Bear said, okay, took out his paints, his paintbrush, And he gave her a nice long nose. Look at that. And he said, Miss Elephant, what do you think? Miss Elephant said, that's lovely, dear. I think she'll love that. So Bear brought it home. He shows his mom by saying, look, Mom, I painted a picture of you. And Mama Bear looks at the picture and she says, I love it. Little Bear says, just as it is? And she said, just as it is. So now when you go over to Little Bear's house, that's why you'll see this picture hanging on the refrigerator. The end. Happy Mother's Day.